Millions of people have posted about the Me Too movement since the weekend. It is a push to bring awareness and to eventually end sexual harassment and assault. Actress Alyssa Milano is credited for getting people to talk about this. But the movement actually started 10 years ago. Activist Tarana Burke first pioneered this movement to help young girls of color who survived sexual abuse, and it has since blown up to have an even bigger impact. The effects of this social media campaign are being felt right here in D.C., and our Michael Quander has one woman's story.
I remember when I was taking a cab one day back at around 11 p.m. And I got into the taxi, and the cab driver turned around and told me that I looked like a slut. And then he turned around and grabbed my leg. And I was 1 block away from my house, and I immediately just threw like $20 at him, ran out of the car, and you know, that was that.
Noor Mir moved to the U.S. from Pakistan about 9 years ago. She eventually found herself living right here in D.C. This was one of many times she could remember being sexually harassed or assaulted. But perhaps the worst of all, the one that leaves the biggest scar, is when she says that she was sexually assaulted by someone she thought was a friend. When it first happened, what was going through your mind? What was your emotions? How did you deal with all this?
It was hard for me to even identify what was going on. So my emotions were confusion. It was kind of disbelief that a friend would do this to me.
Does it still hurt? Do you still feel some kind of pain from what happened 6 years ago?
Definitely. I think the pain that I feel is in terms of like a lost friendship and relationship. I think that the pain that I feel is distrust.
Yeah, and she knows that some people may not understand it, but Mir never pressed charges because at the time, this was still someone she cared deeply about. Recently, she saw people using the Me Too hashtag, it trending on social media.
So even though I didn't choose to engage with it right when it started, I did think it had the potential to be powerful.
And it was, until she saw her accused attacker posting about it too.
And that's exactly what I saw my perpetrator doing was, you know, me too. I have engaged in behaviors that are harmful to women.
Did you have a problem with that?
I had very much a problem with the fact that somebody who can't own up to the fact that they assaulted me had the gall and the space to publicly say that they're sorry for any behaviors that they've done, but not privately take any accountability for something that happened 6 years ago.
Yeah, and she's not alone. Mir says that a lot of people saw both the negative and positive sides out of all of this. She says, of course, many women were empowered by this movement, but there were also others who felt re-victimized by their attackers, posting about this one online.
Triggering a lot of emotions there, Michael Quander. Thanks so much for that report. You know, U.S. Olympic gymnast Michaela Maroney tweeted out her Me Too story this morning. She says USA gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar sexually abused her over several years. She says it started when she was just 13 and was invited to a national team training camp. Maroney says the abuse continued until she left the sport. She writes, "It seemed whenever and wherever this man could find the chance, I was, quote, treated." Nassar is on trial in Michigan facing sexual assault charges. He awaits sentencing on federal charges.